let's go to the response. There were 5 different responses last night. There was one. Did you hear what happened to Bernie Sanders? He gave a response somewhere, and it was a technical glitch. He was doing a streaming response, and something happened, and his feed died. I mean, it was a classic example of socialism on display. Bernie with his big... Bernie's another guy last night that looked gobsmacked. When Trump's announcing all this great economic news, the unemployment numbers going way down, the new jobs, the high-paying jobs, Bernie looked totally confused, as though like it's not possible. Capitalism doesn't do these good things. It's just not possible. But now we go to Fall River, Massachusetts, at the Diamond Regional Vocational Tech School, featuring Joe Kennedy and a 4-door family sedan, for some reason, on display right behind him. All they needed was some scuba gear or a neck brace to complete the vision. This is Joe Kennedy III. He's the son of Robert Kennedy, JFK's brother. He has, 34, 38 years old? Do you know what his net worth is? Well, it's $43 million. He's not worked. I mean, $43 million. Do you realize how large the Kennedy family fortune has to be if the son, if a grandson, and how many of them are there? I mean, there are Kennedys out there like there are roaches underneath your sink. And this one has $43 million net worth, and this comes from the Kennedy fortune. A large part of the Kennedy fortune, by the way, is they get the duty, the import tax, on every bottle of scotch that comes into the United States. Joe Kennedy Sr., the family scion, set that up, and they, to this day, that's a steady income flow that they have. I'm not criticizing it. I'm just telling you what it is. They're free to invest in whatever they want to invest in. I'm not saying it's ill-gotten because it's liquor. No, I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying, but it's got to be pretty huge because there aren't Kennedy paupers. But, you wonder, there's so many Kennedy grandkids and kids that who has decided which of them gets this much versus that much and so forth. You talk about estate planning. This has got to be some of the best. Anyway, that's who's giving the response. And he did look like he was drooling last night. I felt sorry for him. I don't think he was drooling. I think whatever happened there, it was reflecting. He says he put too much chapstick on. Now, I don't know people that put chapstick, where the goatee would be. Chapstick usually goes on the lips, right? Do you grab your chapstick and from the corner of your mouth paint down to your chin? Well, that's apparently what he did for some reason. He overused it because, it can be unnerving. You're doing a nationwide response to the State of the Union in a little high school gymnasium, but the eyes of the nation are on you. Remember when Marco Rubio did it? He ended up with dry mouth and had to sip some water during it, and he never got over that. Well, I mean, the teasing never ended. And so young Joe Kennedy III, I think, wanted to make sure that he didn't have dry mouth or he didn't have to be licking his lips if they dried out. So here came the chapstick. Anyway, the thing to note here is listen to the entirely different vision of America. Now, in the case of the Kennedys, I've always believed they can't possibly really see the country this way. This is they articulate all this stuff as a means of getting away with being rich. The Kennedys and Bill Gates and Buffett, all these other people, they get away with being rich rather than being targeted for it because they all act like they don't deserve it. They all act like they're going to give most of it away. They all act like they're not paying enough taxes, and they all focus on the underprivileged and the downtrodden and the thirsty and the hungry and the roach-infested, what have you, to make it look like the money in their life is just incidental and they don't even think about it, which, of course, there is nobody in the world with money who doesn't think about it, doesn't care about it, is not trying to grow it. But it's an art. It's a political art to have a lot of money and convince people you don't care and that you really just want to give it away, when in fact they want to give other people's money away, not their own. The way the Kennedys live, they can't possibly see the country the way they portray it. But they have parlayed this view into a dynastic political family and existence. Here's just one soundbite ought to do this.
To all the dreamers out there watching tonight, let me be absolutely clear. Ustedes son parte de nuestra historia. Vamos a luchar por ustedes y no nos vamos a alejar. You are part of our story. We will fight for you, and we will not walk away. You proudly marched together last weekend, thousands deep, on the streets of Las Vegas and Philadelphia and Nashville. You sat high atop your mom's shoulders and held a sign that read, "Build a wall, and my generation will tear it down."
Right on, dude! You tell them! Build a wall, and we're going to tear it down. So here, he sees they're just victims. Man, they're just put upon, they're mistreated, they need protection, they're helpless. And by the way, speaking Spanish, Joe Kennedy III does not own that one. This is a tradition that has been alive in the Kennedy family for a long time.
Jalisco no te rajes, mesala del amor. Cantor, cantalor, abril todo el pecho, echar ese grito, que lindo es Jalisco. Palabra, oh no. Laredo, will you help us out? Will you vote for Barack Obama?
That is the late Senator Ted Kennedy at an Obama campaign event in Laredo, Texas in 2008. So you see, the Kennedy family has practiced the art of outreach in many diverse ways. Kennedy was asked about his drooling today on Good Morning America. George Stephanopoulos could not help bringing it up.
Twitter had a field day with your shiny lips. So did you bring your chapstick this morning?
Oddly enough, decided to go a little bit light on the chapstick this morning. More on the coffee, light on the chapstick, which is probably a wise choice.
Man, is this guy presidential or what? See how this works? Yeah, I didn't bring the chapstick today, George. Just the coffee. Maybe overdid it last night. And then Stephanopoulos, after that interlude of just bright, brilliant, blinding brilliance, Stephanopoulos added,
he followed all the rules perfectly. He got made fun of giving the speech like everybody does, and he made fun of himself the next morning.
Is this guy presidential material or what? Having more fun than a human being should be allowed to have. And if you were right, as often as I am, it would be fun for you too. People ask me what it's like. I said, I don't know anything else. 800-282-2882. You really think that young Kennedy's speech last night's going to be known as Chapstick Acquittic? I don't know. I mean, I know that it's a little creative out there, but it might also be a bit of a stretch. Because last I looked, everybody survived it. Right? Yeah, we do. We do. By the way, not everybody was happy with the choice of young Joe Kennedy. I have a story here. that comes from Breitbart. The headline, Left Blast, Tone-Deaf, Inexcusable Joe Kennedy Pick, Privileged White Man Who's Not Progressive Enough. Some left-wing activists are not thrilled that the Democrats picked Joe Kennedy. They call him a privileged white man who is not liberal enough. He's not progressive enough. A white man from a storied political dynasty who is, by all accounts, not one of Capitol Hill's pioneering forces. The founder of Moms Demand Action, a prominent gun control group, argued the Democrats should have selected a woman of color to deliver the response. Others echoed the same sentiments, arguing that it's really inexcusable, it's tone-deaf, and an extraordinary waste of a valuable opportunity. Throw another Kennedy up there, and to not feature a woman of color to represent the resistance. Another agitated left-winger said maybe the Democrats could have tried to find somebody who's not a white guy. The progressive movement today, the root of all evil in America, is from white America. White privilege is why so many problems exist. And do not doubt me on this, and do not slough this off. And it's what if you have kids in college, it's what they're being taught, and many of them are signing right up for it. They're signing right onto it. They're being taught self-loathing. They're being taught to feel guilty. They are being propagandized into believing that their racial heritage, white Christian patriarchy, is the problem that remains to be solved in this country because it is the root of all evil. Now, I want to move on to this dossier because, folks, I don't think you in this audience need any lessons on the media and how they operate. But still, it is useful to point the